Hello and welcome back to the Chasing Psychological Safety video series with myself and Dwayna. We're here on video today. As you can see, we're not in the same place, but we wanted to make sure that we made a video for you anyway. And today's topic is psychological safety at the senior leadership, or shall we say even the C-suite level. So, Dwayna, why are we talking about this?
Because it's a very, very interesting topic, and I think anyone watching this would agree. Whether or not leaders function as lonesome wolves on the path of winning the universe, or they function as a team, is a topic that needs debating, in particular because of the way business goes today, and because of the speed of change and the demands on the times of leaders. Oftentimes we find leaders that end up being in the same room, but speaking on top of each other, speaking at each other, protecting their own image, having imposter syndrome moments, and all in all, just simply not communicating, not growing, and not creating anything. So is that really a team just because they are in the same place once or twice a year, is the question.
Yeah, so it's kind of fascinating. You know, we work with leaders from the initial stages of their leadership pathway right through to, the senior executive C-suite type teams. And what tends to happen, what we observe, is that the sense of risk and psychological safety, as we know, is all based around interpersonal risk in teams, but the sense of risk that those individuals have as they go up the career ladder is greater. It grows and grows and grows, and for very logical reasons. The sense of responsibility and accountability is greater. The ramifications of their actions can be greater as well. However, what that drives, and what we're observing that drives, is a much higher level of impression management at that team level, at the executive team level. What we're also observing is, as Dwayna said, people aren't necessarily operating as teams. And it could be more important that is the first and foremost place in an organization that the team is psychologically safe. So they're in the room, that's great, once, twice a year, once a month, however often it is, and when they're in the room, the impression of the team is created. But what's required is that level of psychological safety and connection such that when they are back in their different parts of the business, they're still operating as a team. And that's when organizations can really start to make progress.
That's right. I think you broke off a little bit over there, but I don't think we missed anything. It was maybe a word or so, although each word is very important on this topic, to be fair. But I wonder sometimes if leaders are aware they're not a team anymore. I wonder if they maybe think the concept of team is not available to them anymore, and they feel an absolute need to impression manage, whether they realize it or not, simply because there's no culture of being authentic and yourself once you're at a certain level of a company. So you are expected to do a lot more, to be a lot more. You're not supposed to be paid a great amount to be human yourself. So I wonder if leaders feel like they can be in a team anymore.
Exactly, and whether they focus on themselves as part of a team. One of the phrases that when you're looking at a group of leaders, you said, you're not alone. There is this group of people around you who can help you, support you, and the more that you do that, the more that you are human beings in this executive level team, the more your organization will prosper. And it's kind of a fascinating, liberating moment for people, and they think, oh, hold on a second, I can have this here. What they struggle to have, and what we work on with them, is that vulnerability, being able to be open and honest about worries, concerns, mistakes, all those sorts of things in that team context. But that's a key part of psychological safety, and that's what then starts to drive that team at that level.
I think it's really important to acknowledge that when we do this work with leadership teams, it's really difficult. There's years and years of inbuilt behaviors that are not necessarily helpful to a climate of psychological safety. There's a loss of the topic of team, which is almost an existing concept. And then there's all the pressures of business on top of it. And I think what's slightly liberating to some of the leaders we've met has been the concept, ironically, the really useful concept, the concept of servant leadership. Because once you comprehend that you are not expected to necessarily deliver numbers and always fix issues and only come back when you have results you want to communicate. Once they comprehend they're not there to kind of put out a press release to each other, but more to kind of co-create something, and that something has to be get out of the way of your own people and enable them to have the things they need to have. So once they comprehend that that's their new to do, I feel like they become a team a lot faster. So who knows, maybe this VUCA world is going to give us the answers to our leadership issues. So we're going to have teams again at the leadership level. Long topic. We both wrote about this. You guys can find them in our series and our articles. We still want to talk to all of you about it. What does it feel like being a leader? Do you actually feel part of a team? Is this something we're just making up and you are actually real tight with every other CXO in the organization? Or do you understand what you mean by it being a set of individuals who you should manage? So yeah, we'll talk to you next week then.
Great.
Have a lovely week meanwhile, and also obviously without psychological safety, even at the top, you can't have performant leadership teams.
That's what I was waiting for. Thanks everybody. Thank you for your comments.
Bye.